Something people keep asking me why I'm single, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm single because I refuse to settle and entertain all these fuckboys about, and join the trend of playing mind games and acting like a child, quite frankly. I mean, at my age, I only wish to engage with people who are at my level of maturity, and that includes emotional maturity. I'm single because I will not just allow anyone in my life and in my kid's life, if they're not bringing substance, if they're not bringing integrity, if they're not bringing honesty, respect. I refuse, to settle for being second best or being treated like an option as well. If I'm not made a priority, then I don't want it. I know what I deserve and I know what I bring to the table. I'm a very good mom and I take a fucking good care of my children. I don't need anyone walking into my life and messing with my head and ruining what I've got going on for myself. I fight for myself. I'm independent. I am not interested in all this shallow shit that everyone's going on about, girls gold digging guys and all this crap. I pay my own bills, I've got my own back. And quite frankly, if anyone is going to walk into my life, they need to be bringing something meaningful. They need to be my support emotionally.
Fellas, I don't know if you are intentionally or subconsciously being confused by what we mean when we say we would rather stay single, but it's not because we don't want a relationship. It's not because we don't want companionship, partnership. The problem is, why would we get into a relationship specifically with a man when it does not improve the conditions of our lives, or at the very least maintain the status of life that I currently provide to myself? Why? So if I'm financially stable, emotionally stable, if I go to therapy, if I have taken the time to build a genuine connection with people around me, a community, why would I want a relationship with a man who has not even taken steps to improve his own life, but want to be in a relationship with me? Why?
They'll say to me, like, aren't you scared being single in your 30s? And I'm like, no.
People tend to forget that men actually end up with the longer end of the stick in marriage. The happiest people on earth are married men and unmarried women. The highest rate in suicides are divorced men and married women. So if we look at these facts and statistics, it is quite obvious that women are actually very happy on their own. But society likes to keep it a secret. Why, you ask? Well, society is run by men. And they wouldn't want us to know that we're happy without them. Because men always benefit from marriage, where women, not so much.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Black Tea Podcast. We're diving into a topic that's been stirring up a lot of conversation, the rise of single women. Now, I've seen a lot of takes on this subject lately, especially online. And as a Christian, I believe it's important we approach this topic with both compassion and a firm grounding in biblical truth. So, we've all seen the headlines and the social media posts. There's a narrative out there suggesting that women are happier, healthier, and more fulfilled in singledom than in traditional relationships with men. Some are even going as far as to say they prefer cats over men, which, frankly, I find a little concerning.
I've been single for 6.5 years, and a very common question has been, do you want a relationship? To which my favourite reply is, it depends what type. It's a common mistake to think that being in a relationship and being single are in any way comparative. Of course, individuals have their own experiences, but there are as many ways to be single as there are types of relationship, which of course relies on the relationship you build with yourself and with other people, which again, there's lots of ways to do. I don't really care for the labels of being single or in a relationship as much as I do my spiritual, mental, emotional well-being and fulfillment while having those experiences. So if you're asking me if I'd rather have a relationship for the sake of having a relationship, the simple answer is no. Because to trade everything I have, it really depends what type.
If you stay single and build your business and put all that effort and energy into what you're trying to create, you don't have to worry about a man sabotaging your business, trying to clout chase off of what you've done. And I understand that if you have somebody and you care about him, you don't want him to feel some kind of way. A lot of women try to protect a man's ego because they feel like, well, he has help. He ain't gave you no real money. You know what I mean? Like, it's these men want attention. They don't even really want to work and get money. They just want the attention. My daughter's father opened my first salon for me. He bought the space. He did the build out. His father was the electrician. He did all the electrical work. He did all that for me. He didn't have to go around telling everybody what he did. He did that for my daughter. He did that for me. It's like nowadays a man will give you the bare minimum or invest the bare minimum, but he want all the accolades off of your hard work. You really the one that went to the bank and got that funding. You the one who did the footwork and finding some place and getting a location. He just probably gave you $2-3 and now he thinking that, you know, he want to let everybody know like, yeah, this is what I did. And he didn't do that. And I'm going to be honest with you. If a woman is successful in her business and she has a man, you guaranteed you done gave that man about 20 other women that he probably wouldn't have had if didn't nobody even know about y'all. The colder that you are, the stronger that you are, the more successful that you are as a female, whatever man you with, he's going to get the attention of other women based off of you and what you've done for yourself, because women going to think that he did it. Back in the day, like early 2000s, if you was in Atlanta from 99 to 06, you know we had a time. I'm too old. I'm damn near 50. I don't club hop. I don't go to the clubs or none of that. But I met some guys from Atlanta and they had their section and they, you know, I'm like, oh, they cute, you know. But I came in, I'm from Chicago. If you Chicago, Detroit, you know, when we come through, we gonna come through and we gonna put it on. I had my Rolex, all my jewelry on, all of that. And so we formed a friendship and I introduced him to somebody that I knew. So I was a middleman for him for other things. But he would tell me, he said, I love when you come in town. I love when you kick it with us, because when you walk away, when you go to the bathroom or whatever you do, I get about 20 numbers. I said, what you mean? He said, because you come in, you look so good when you come through. You always have your expensive stuff on. He said, those women think I bought that for you. When we talking and we in the section and we having a good time, women are watching you. And when you walk away, they give me their number because they think that you my woman and that all that fly shit, all that expensive shit that you wear, they think I bought it for you. So I'm telling you, that was back then. So a lot of times now on the internet, we post certain things and a man will sit up there and clout chase off a woman, especially a woman that's successful. Other women will want that man based off a simple fact of what you have. Because in their mind, they like, oh, she got it, I could get it too. The more successful you are, the more attention you gonna give that man, because every woman thinks that he done did that for you. These men clout chase too much. If you really want to be successful in business and whatever it is, your endeavor, stay single. You don't have to worry about his feelings. You can invest all that time and energy into you.
Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, let me be clear. I'm not here to condemn anyone's choices or dictate how they should live their lives. What I am here to do is offer a different perspective rooted in the teachings of the Bible. We need to recognize that the family unit, built on the foundation of marriage between a man and a woman, is a divine institution designed by God for the benefit of society. I believe, and Scripture shows, that God created us to desire companionship and a partner to share our lives with.
You know why I'm never going to shut up about being a single girl who lives alone is because I am the first woman, not only in my family, in my entire lineage, who's able to live alone. My mom was never able to live alone. Her mom was never able to live alone. Her mom was never able to live alone. Multiply that times infinity for the rest of forever till the beginning of humanity. And it actually is that deep. If you're a girly who's living right now in your own little apartment, can afford your own bills, can pay your own rent, you don't rely on your family, you don't rely on a man in your life to financially provide for you, you're quite literally breaking generational trauma. I can literally say it started with me. My sisters, everyone after me, I was the first. I was literally the first woman in my entire female lineage to live alone. It is that deep, and that's fucking crazy, and I will not shut up about it.
So, what do we make of this trend where women are choosing to stay single? First, let's talk about the concerns that these women are raising. They talk about emotional safety, and I understand that. They speak about men lacking empathy, and I think we need to be honest that men, too, have their struggles, and we all fall short of God's plan for us. Many women are expressing frustration with what they see as a lack of effort or maturity from men, and I think there's something to that. Some women feel like they're doing all the emotional and domestic labor in a relationship, and that can lead to resentment. These are valid points, and we, as men and as a church, need to be very honest with ourselves and ask ourselves if we're truly living up to the standards of loving husbands and partners as set forth in Scripture. We must examine our hearts. Now, let's look at some of the opinions and experiences that I've come across. Imani Forrester. She says she wrote a book to deprogram women from the marrying for love narrative, which is concerning. I firmly believe that marriage is about love, but more than that, it's about a commitment made in faith. It's not just a feeling, but a sacred covenant before God, a divine institution. Shanice. She highlights women who are prioritizing their peace over relationships. Now, while peace is indeed important, we should also be working towards building up the family unit, not walking away from it because of temporary difficulties. It is our duty as believers to always strive to be a light in the world, and this means persevering through challenges and loving our partners as Christ loved us, the woman who feels that love is the bare minimum and judges character and energy. There's a point to self-respect, but love and forgiveness should be central to any relationship and should be extended to men as well. The woman who says she does not want to cook for or clean for a man. Now, there's a lot of different takes on traditional roles, but if you are a wife or partner in a relationship, you have the duty to serve your husband the same way that he has a duty to love and provide for you. These duties are not burdens, but expressions of faith, devotion, and love. The woman who says intelligent girls are more likely to stay single. That's an interesting take. It could mean that they have a higher standard, and I believe it's good to have standards, but I also feel that it's important not to close your heart to relationships because of previous negative experiences. The woman who said she didn't want to be single, but has been pushed to this point due to her dating experiences. She also has some points about learning to be alone and content. I agree that being comfortable with oneself is important, but it is not the end-all and be-all. It's important.
I would much rather be single than stuck in something that isn't fulfilling. I would much rather be single than married to a partner that it isn't equitable. I would much rather be single than be lonely in my relationship. We treat singledom as if it is this curse, as if you are unpicked or unwanted or undesirable. And it's like, maybe she just didn't settle.
I've never had a boyfriend and I'm 29 years old.
Hi, my name's Erin. I'm 27 and I've never had a boyfriend. And I was going to see a therapist because I thought there was something wrong with me until I had a really good conversation with my little sister. And she was like, as the way that I see it is that I think a lot of men get confused because they get a very spicy energy from you. And what can I say? I'm a little bit spicy, but I also haven't met someone that's on my level, and that's totally fine. And I refuse to settle for less until I find that person that can meet me there. And yeah, and if 23 provides that for me, 2023, so I'll bring it on. But until I meet that person, I refuse to settle for anything less. So it's our year, Joel. It's our year.
To be honest with you, I would rather be the girl everyone asks, why is she single? Than the girl everyone thinks can do better.
Something that always sends me is how unmarried single women are literally the happiest subgroup in society, and yet people still say shit like, well, with that attitude, you'll never find a man, as though it's the worst thing in the world that can happen. Like, don't threaten me with a good time.
Rule number 21. Stay single until someone actually compliments your life in a way that makes it better not to be single. If not, it's not worth it.
To find healthy and fulfilling relationships, and isolation is never an ideal situation for Christians. The creators who spoke about men's lack of social skills, empathy, and emotional intelligence. There is definitely a lack of these things for many men. But that goes both ways, and instead of pointing fingers, we should be working towards becoming better versions of ourselves, both as men and women. The women who say it's better to be alone than in a bad relationship. I completely understand that no one should be in an abusive or toxic relationship, and separation might be the most logical solution. But that doesn't mean giving up on marriage or relationships altogether. The women who say it's better to be alone than in a bad relationship. I completely understand that no one should be in an abusive or toxic relationship, and separation might be the most logical solution. But that doesn't mean giving up on marriage or relationships altogether. The woman who says that women choose to be single because they are happier alone and want to focus on other relationships. This is a very interesting take, and I can see the value in that, but I also feel like God designed us to be partnered and that it is within that partnership that you can truly grow, not only as individuals, but as partners and servants of God. So, what are my final thoughts on all of this? Well, I think it's clear that there are many deeply rooted issues that need to be addressed in the way that men and women relate to one another, and we cannot disregard some of the valid concerns presented here. But I also believe that we cannot allow ourselves to be swayed by the world's standards, and that we must strive to live according to the Bible, and that is a path that includes marriage and relationships. I believe that men and women are designed to complement each other, and I think that God calls us to unity, not separation. He calls men to be leaders, providers, and loving husbands, and He calls women to be supportive, nurturing partners and mothers. And yes, I know that in today's society, these concepts might not be as popular as they once were, but that does not mean that we have to throw them away. I believe that there are many men out there who are striving to be good men, who believe in marriage, who believe in family, and that we need to help them strive for virtue. I want to encourage everyone to not give up hope, to not give up faith, to continue to pray, and most of all, to continue to lean on our Savior, Jesus Christ. Thank you for joining me today on the Black Tea Podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's all strive to live a life that is pleasing to God. Until next time, may God bless you all.